TFT's 14th set Cyber City launches today on live servers. I've played a decent amount of PvE, and in this video I'm going to share with you the comp that I'm going to be playing day 1 to start my climb. For a bit of brief background, when I first started on PvE, I thought Street Demon looked really good and the stats pretty good on it, but I couldn't really figure out what to play with it. I started by playing Jinx, and Jinx felt really good, like I was first place with it a lot of games, but I couldn't figure out whether to put in strategist, like I couldn't figure out the line. Eventually I settled on Street Demon strategist with one marksman in for Jinx, but I realized that marksman is more of a, it wasn't really necessary for Jinx to do what Jinx was doing. Basically then strategist got nerfed and people started to realize that rengar was really good in the executioners line. So I basically put 2 and 2 together and tried to figure out a sweet spot for a Jinx and a rengar build, because Street Demon in itself seems really good, and also Street Demon incorporates 2 strategists already. So I ended up on this board here, which is a Jinx and rengar reroll board. Rengar is your main carry, and you might think, well, why not just play executioners? But I don't think that capping out executioners is actually that strong, and I think that playing 5 Street Demon, as well as like the splash traits, like the 2 strategists that you get and the bruiser that you can put in, I feel like these are stronger than actually capping out the executioners board. Rengar is your primary carry, so he's going to be the one that you want to 3-star the most, and Jinx is your secondary carry. And although these two don't really share traits apart from Street Demon, Jinx at 3-star alone deals decent damage with items. I think as well on release that people are going to be playing a lot of Shaco and a lot of Zed, and these units are good at getting into the backline and killing backline carries, and I think that's why these sort of units that just sit in the backline will struggle on the release patch. This comp kind of fixes that, so that you've got a melee carry who is your main carry, and then a secondary carry who is in the backline. Pre-level 7, you sort of just want to play any strong board, and you will transition into Rengar and Jinx later on. But I think that you still hold the Street Demon units and just play whatever's the strongest till level 7. And once you're level 7, you obviously start rolling for Jinx and Rengar. Now, as you're rolling on level 7, you can put in Aesah and Graves. With Aesah and Graves, you have Golden Ox. Can put in Golden Ox again at level 9, so you don't lose out on all of this damage amp that you've been getting, and you can give it to Aphelios and Graves. But overall, like, it's not that important, it's not a requirement for the comp, but it does help. I mean, Golden Ox drops gold on kills, which can help reroll more. The only thing that you're really going to swap this out for is a Gragas. There's not really too much difference between Aleister 2 and Gragas 1. If you've got Gragas 2, it's a bit of a different story. I mean, if you're stable, you can maybe still play the Aleister and benefit from Golden Ox, but I don't think it's a requirement. It is something that is worth playing on level 7 if you have the right spot for it. Zyra is also only on this board as a trait bot. She just gives 5 Street Demon. She is replaced by Nico as soon as you see her. She can be replaced by other higher tier Street Demon units as well, like Brand, and then obviously swap out Brand for Nico as soon as you see it. You could also play some alternative boards on level 7, for example, if you want to play towards more strategist, if you haven't hit a Jinx yet, or something like that. Basically, you just transition into this, you hold Jinx and you swap out the units as soon as you get them, but at the same time, you don't want to lose too much HP. This is your ideal level 8 board, and to be honest, this is the board that you'll probably finish most games with. With Rengar 3 and Jinx 3, I think this board is easily able to secure a top 4. I've played plenty of games with Rengar 3, but only Jinx 2, and then I go level 8 to find Nico 2-star, and I've top 4'd easily. Jinx is your secondary carry though, and ideally you want to 3-star her as well as Rengar. And then once you've got Rengar 3, Jinx 3, you can just roll for your 4-star 2 cost on level 8, and then just focus on leveling at this point. Now on level 9, I mean, I think the default is just slap in any Aphelios for marksman on Jinx, especially if she has good items. But there are a lot of things that you can play on level 9 instead of Aphelios, which could be even stronger. So for Garen, for example, mods are crazy good in this comp. Like, if you can give Jinx executioners, you're basically giving her an IE, and then she's got another item slot. But I guess this will depend on if you've slammed IE or not already, if you have a trait for it, things like that. But Garen is a really good unit to play in this just for the mods. Giving Street Demon to Gragas or Vex or anyone, or giving Bruiser to Rengar, these mods are really good, and this is your ideal level 9 unit, but obviously it's harder to hit. Another unit you could play is Zac for extra CC. I mean, Zac is just good, especially if you've got a lot of gold, you can roll down for a 4-star 3 cost, as well as getting his blobs or something like this. Like, Zac is a good unit to play. Another unit you could play is Zed. Zed is a decent unit. Like, he gives more backline access to this comp, which it already has a lot of, but even more of it is nicer. I mean, Zed's going to be a strong unit on release patch, and in this comp, you have a Mundo with Slayer, so putting in Zed with 2 Slayer is nice. You could play an extra strategist if you want, maybe Ziggs or something like this, or just another Divini Corp unit to give these units another buff. Urgot for +1 executioners. Basically, you can play a lot on 9. Your highest cap, I think, is Garen 2 with the extra mods. You could also just go as low as like leveling to 9 and just playing an Aphelios. Rengar is your main carry. He'll want your basically forced bis items if you can. BT is a requirement on him. I think you want this item 100% of the time. Basically, you want BT plus a sword item and a crit item. Sword item being like Sterak's Gauge, Edge of Night, or you could give him Titans. I think Titans is really strong on him. I mean, it's just good on every melee carry basically, right? And I think that Rengar benefits more so from the AP than a unit like Zed would. And the armor and magic resist he gets will be helpful because obviously he's frontline. For a crit item, you could go Hodge or QSS. Extra healing from the Hodge is good, and QSS is good if you're worried about CC, but you mainly want another crit item just to max out his crit and his crit damage. Guardbreaker is also fine, but I think it just caps his crit out and gives him stats he likes. I mean, it's good into shields, but I'd rather go for Hodge or QSS. I feel like Guardbreaker is a slam that you would only make if you were trying to tempo. Another good item that I don't see a lot of stats for is Deathblade. I mean, Rengar's AD scaling is crazy high, and I think that just having this on him is huge, especially considering he's benefiting from Street Demon as well. Overall, basically just melee carry items, and once the stats come out, we'll be able to like narrow the build down more to basically what is Bis. Because Jinx's ability fires 1 extra rocket per cast, you want at least one item that's going to make her cast more, and I think that item is Guinsoo's. I wouldn't be too surprised if it changes to Spear of Shojin once we see stats, but I think that it depends on what you've got, but Guinsoo's also kills a rod, which you don't really need in this comp, and I think that Guinsoo's is decent on her, doing a lot of damage with her autos, things like that, so I think Guinsoo's is like her main item. Jinx's AD scaling is also very high, so she can take a Deathblade too if you've got too many swords, which would be rare, but it happens. I played a game with Guinsoo's on Jinx with sword overflow, and I made 2 Deathblades, and it went really well. So I mean, I think Deathblade on her is decent. She does want IE in my opinion, but there are other avenues to give her spell crit, so I'm not really too sure on greeding IE on her. I think that you build IE last, or if you know that you've not got enough econ to hit something like a Garen 2, or you're 4-2 and you've already taken all your augments and you know that you're not getting a emblem for executioners. Nico items, it's just standard tank items like Warmog's, Declaw, Bramble, Evan Shroud if you have no Sunder. So for example, you've got no Last Whisper on Jinx. Crown Guard is good, and Vow is also good. Just standard tank items. You could give her Gargoyles and put her on an edge. Yeah, any tank item's good on her basically. Vex is your 3rd carry, and she's not as high a prio, but if you do have like a blue buff or a mana item, I mean, this is who you want to put it on next. Raw AP is also good, or you can give her your anti-heal items, things like this. Her item priority is not very high, so you sort of just give her your leftovers. Positioning, I mean, positioning will depend on your Street Demon hexes, but you want Jinx and Rengar and Nico in the priority hexes. Make sure you do this. This is crucial. And ideally, Jinx and Rengar are on the same side. If Nico has Evan Shroud, then you want her on the same side too, because that's where your anti-armor is coming from. Other than this, it's all dependent on the hexes really. I don't really want to spend too much longer on this video, and augments are giga dependent on what you're shown basically, and there's a bunch of augments you can take, whether you can or can't see them, things like that, right? So instead of just going over a bunch of augments, I'm going to go over the ones that I've played with and tell you I think they're good or not. Freestyling, this is a unit that basically paints hexes. It's good on 2-1, gives Street Demon start and 30 gold, pretty good. Tagging Spree, I mean, this just gives 20% in the hexes and lets you paint more hexes for the prio ones. This is just really good for Street Demon. Take this when you can. Not today, I mean, gain an Edge of Night and 35% attack speed. This is just a free Rengar item that is buffed. I mean, this is obviously good for Rengar. Long distance pals, this is really good, but it depends on your hexes. Obviously, if you can't pair up Rengar and Jinx, then this is not very good. But if you can, it's crazy good. I had a game where I had a Rengar and a Jinx with long distance pals, and they both had like 400 AD. It was crazy. This is like a really good item for this comp because you've got 2 carries. Patient Study, I mean, this just helps you get to Jinx quicker, Jinx Rengar 3 quicker, get 7, and then also it helps you afterwards get to 9 to cap out your board. I mean, this is just a good unit, especially because you're not really strong until you get Jinx to Rengar 2, so you're losing a lot, but you're also leveling a lot quicker. Other econ augments that help are like Raining Gold, Trade Sector. If you've not got a lot of items, like Replication can be good, Big Grab Bag, things like this. Scoreboard Scrapper, also pretty good. I mean, you're not strong until you hit Rengar, Jinx, so you can just get a lot of value by staying at the bottom of the scoreboard and then spiking really hard. Sword Overflow, really pretty good in this comp, to be honest. You want a lot, like if you can give Jinx a lot of swords, if you're lacking like swords or items, this is just pretty good. Like double Death Blade Jinx felt really good. Overall, it's really flexible with augments. I could go over this for ages, but it just depends on what you see. I try to keep this video short because I imagine a lot of people will see it today and will want to climb and try this out. I'd suggest it. I've had a lot of success with it on PBE. Obviously things could change. They might chuck out, you know, a Jinx or a Rengar nerf and then this becomes less priority. Thanks for watching. Drop a like and subscribe. Good luck climbing today.